Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan. Today we are going to look at Old Charter. Now, Old Charter, this is a Buffalo Trace or Sazerac product. It still has the 8 on it, but it used to be an 8-year age statement whiskey. In, I think, like 2014, they stopped putting 8-year bourbon in there because, like so many other companies, they just didn't have enough bourbon to go around to meet the age statement requirements. However, they kept the age statement on the bottle, and I don't remember when the lawsuit happened, but there was a lawsuit that sued Buffalo Trace, saying, hey, you have an 8-year age statement on there, and you have between 4 and 6-year-old bourbon in there, which is technically illegal. And so since then, I looked at this bottle. It does not have the 8-year age statement on there. If you go look it up, it'll, like on Wikipedia or whatever, it'll say that it says that the bottle still says like aged for 8 seasons or something like that. This does not say anything about that. So they've removed it from the bottle. It is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, though, without an age statement, so an NAS, so that means it's a minimum of 4 years old. 40% or 80 proof, and it says distilled, aged, and bottled by Old Charter Distillery Company. So that's probably all you need to know about this. Now, I bought this bottle for $17.95 over in Gillette, Wyoming. And let's see, like 2 years ago, I found this available here locally, and it was $15.29, and I skipped it because I just had done enough bottom shelf introductory stuff at that point in time and wasn't looking to do any more. And then, add different city, different location, inflation, and all the crazy crap that's going on in the world. And in Gillette, I saw price ranges from $17 to $20, $21 or $22 on this bottle. And so this was the cheapest that I had found it in Gillette at $17.95. Now, I had heard that this is a really nice whiskey. I did take a couple of sips off of it, and I have to say it was kind of syrupy and bitter, and it had a syrupy texture. It was bitter on the taste and a little harsh. Tasted more like a blended Scotch, where it has that harsh grain alcohol taste to it. It's not very dark in color. I do not know if they put any coloring in there or anything like that. So I don't know a whole lot about it. And because of that, I kind of wonder, because the recommendations I got said it was every bit as good of whiskey as, a ton of other ones. So a couple of thoughts. Either the bottle that my hunting partner recommended, so either the bottle he had might have been older and actually was an 8-year-old whiskey, or, and this thought occurred to me, so right now it is the last week of February here, and the last 5 days it's been below zero here in Wyoming, and I never thought of this before, but if you freeze whiskey, it definitely impacts the flavor of it. And, kind of thinking about distributor trucks and stuff, they're not, in an insulated vehicle or whatever. So there is the potential that if you're buying whiskey in cold periods of the year, that whiskey could have froze at some point or been, in freezing temperatures, which will absolutely impact the flavor. And I'm wondering if something like that happened here, if that freezing fractured that whiskey somewhat. And so what I experienced was a little bit different. Now, this has been sitting, and I've kind of done this and tried to shake it up a little bit and whatever else. This has been sitting in my basement now for about 2 weeks, and at a stable, maybe like 60 degrees, something like that. So we'll see if that has changed anything. Haven't quite got past the neck pour yet. Again, maybe there'll be a video here coming up, is doing some blind neck pours. I got a buddy coming in. Maybe we'll do that video this weekend. But I think the neck pour is actually a thing, and I think that, you know, that needs to be experimented with a little bit. So, anyways, we'll get back into this bottle. We got a bunch of other things coming up here as well. Let's see what Old Charter is like. Now, from here, I could smell that right away, and it had a very a wood and apple nose to it. Okay, so on the nose, from far away like this, I get Buffalo Trace-esque notes. I get a very, very bright, Honeycrisp apple, and a floral component to it, like a honeysuckle flower. A little bit of oak. If you really stick your nose in there, then it starts to move more into a cherry. This is smelling much better than it originally did. It's smelling like it has a lot of promise. So maybe it's changed on me again. If you go back and watch my High West American single malt review, I said basically the same thing, that I thought, you know, I'd tried a couple sips. It was really off-putting, whatever else. And then all of a sudden, during the review, the whiskey changed 100-fold. Now, that might be due to, you know, the difference in time of day, what I've had to eat, what I've had to drink, you know, all those different things that impact how you experience whiskey. But I don't know. I'm pretty in line with my palate and kind of know what's going on. And so I don't know. We'll see. There's a little like sour ding in the back of the nose behind all the sweet apple, slight cherry floral stuff. But it has a very Buffalo Trace Sazerac type nose profile. Oh, and one other thing, I did take some of that single malt and put it on some oak, so we'll see what that does as well. And it's been that way for like 2-3 weeks, so we'll see if that goes anywhere. But okay, enough with the nose. It's not really changing much. Let's see what we get here. Okay, here's what I'll say. Once again, two things are true. It started out very different than I had experienced, but the finish on it is exactly what I experienced the first time that I tried this. So up front, I get a nice sweet caramel, vanilla, typical bourbon notes, a little bit of apple in there. And then it dries out on the palate, and the finish of the whiskey is very harsh to me, very bitter, bitter and sour, and just has that grain whiskey, grain alcohol type presentation to it. So like the first 3/4 of the palate's really nice, and then it just goes sideways for me, pushing into that finish. The nose doesn't have any difference to it. Second sip, everything I just described that I didn't like kind of goes away to like right now. Right now I'm just getting hit with that that sour ding in there. But the first several parts of that, like it's like a cherry cough syrup, some kind of weird sour ding in there that just kind of clings in the back of my mouth. But all the way up until that point, it was nice and sweet, very vanilla, fruit forward. And then that second sip had a little bit of wood in there, a nice light wood oak component to it, but man, when that ding comes back around, let's see. The nose is exactly the same. Sip number 3. Okay. By the third sip, that ding is well deep into the furthest extent of the finish. All right. So like the beginning part of that finish was sweet, nice, very sugary sweet, very ripe, like Honeycrisp type apple. All the notes that were in the first couple of sips that were in the forward part of the palate moved into the finish on that one. It is underlain with a nice light oak. So it seems that as this kind of opens up and you get acclimated to what's going on, that the flavor profile of that improves. But man, to start with, that was a little rough. That sour, that finish was just rough on that one. But it's getting better, and I will say that it drinks hotter and with a different profile than what you would expect for an 80 proof whiskey. Now, my personal belief is at this price range, you're talking almost $20. You're into Wild Turkey. Is it 81? Let's see here. Sorry. Yeah, Wild Turkey 81 comes in. Basically, let me preface this with basically all the floor intro beginner whiskeys of every brand come in right at that price point, at least here locally. So you can get Wild Turkey 81, you can get Wild Turkey 101, you can get the standard Buffalo Trace for $19.99, including store picks here. You can get Four Roses yellow label here for like $17 and change. You can get Jim Beam. You can get Knob Creek. You can get actually, scratch that. You probably can't get Knob Creek, but you can get Jack Daniels. You can get some, if you go back and look at my whiskey under $10, I would say all of those drink slightly better than this. So you can get, again, other Buffalo Trace products. You can get Ancient Age, which I think drinks much better than this. You can get the Benchmark. I think that drinks better than this. Both of those are sub $10. You can get Old Crow, you can get Early Times, all of those. You can get Early Times bottled and bond if you can get it in your area for about the same price as this. And they all drink better, in my opinion, than this. However, I know you're kind of at the low price mark, so this is February 2022. Russia just invaded Ukraine. The world's in turmoil. Who knows what the world's going to bring this year. Prices and inflation is through the roof. I think annually it was like 7.5%. I think this summer, I think corn's going to be hard to get. I think money is going to be a difficult thing. There's this huge push to go digital at the federal level, which I kind of think will take our American dollar and turn it into crap. So there's a lot of things going on right now that I think are really going to heavily impact how and what whiskey you can find, where you can find it. Now whiskey takes time, so there's a bunch of stuff in the warehouses right now, in the rick houses, but I think this year's going to greatly impact all of that. So with all those things in mind, is this good? I would say this is a sub $15 whiskey in my belief, judged on this bottle. Now, if they get the 8-year statement back, and I don't know for fact whether or not this bottle froze, but I'm going to assume it did. So if you can get a bottle that maybe is 8-year whiskey, which currently it is not, this might be worth $17 at that point. This might have been a great value prior to 2015, but now I would say there's a lot of other options that I think are better. And maybe it's just this bottle, and maybe it froze, or maybe something happened, but it is not very high on my list right now. There's a lot of other things I would be reaching for before I reached for this. So there you go. There is my tasting notes on this current bottle of Old Charter. There you know, if you got anything else, if you got an experience you'd like to tell me I'm wrong, whatever, drop it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, you know, check out Life and Whiskey on all the different platforms that we are on, and give it a thumbs up if you like this, and go ahead and share this video with anybody who you think might actually get some value out of this. And I'm going to start a small series on you know, whiskey, how to taste whiskey, why drink whiskey, all these other things. Just a couple of broad concepts, but I've found that, you know, I haven't gotten a ton of comments, but the ones that I do, oftentimes I find people are commenting, hey, I'm just getting into whiskey, or I'm new to whiskey, or whatever, so what are your recommendations for bottles under X price, or whatever. So I'm going to take a bunch of those types of concepts for people who are new to whiskey, throw those into a small video series, and highlight some techniques, some ideas, some concepts, and see if that can't help some people kind of track down something that they actually enjoy for a reasonable price and with minimal effort. So that way they're not spending tons of money on things that they don't like just to find the one thing that they do like. So keep your eyes open for that. As always, drop in the comments down below you can find a bottle of Old Charter 4 in your area. That way people can kind of get an idea of what price they can expect. And as always, thank you very much. Do greatly appreciate you guys watching. You guys have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video.